Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, Cole Spire, and I am back for another wonderful, wonderful episode of Help for the Guildless. Um, I normally have a script for these, even when I have interviews or friends over to discuss, so this is going to be off the cuff, and I apologize if I pause a little too many times in my thought process or discussion of what's going on. But I thought, in light of the new Fantastic Four teaser trailer, I would like to talk about something that is hitting the movies and is really kind of destroying some of the franchises that we love and sometimes helping the franchises that we love. I like to call it R.E.D. Red disease. Not talking about the movie Red or the comic Red. I am talking about reboot entertainment dysmorphia. Red disease, R.E.D. Yes, it's a fake term. I just came up with it, but I figure it for something like this, it's actually quite suitable. Now, I have no problem with reboots. I really don't. Spider-Man's reboot was amazing. Now, that's not to take anything away from Tobey Maguire and Sam Raimi and Spider-Man 1 and 2. Spider-Man 3 is the reason that we got the new Spider-Man reboot. Sam Raimi was actually contracted for 2 more Spider-Man movies. They broke that contract because of how bad Spider-Man bombed. They rebooted Batman with Batman Begins, and it was amazing. But the reason we got Batman Begins is because of Batman and Robin. Superman got rebooted. Alright, we got Superman 4 was horrible. Superman Saves was god awful. Man of Steel was pretty good, and I liked where they're going for it. Terminator has been rebooted already, and it's going to be rebooted again. Why? Because Salvation didn't make the company enough money for them to be happy with it. So we're talking about the Fantastic Four. Now, I listed off some successful rebooted franchises. Let's talk about bad rebooted franchises and why red disease is usually a killer for a franchise, and it's not always a good thing. So first we're going to talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I grew up with the Turtles. I love the Turtles. I absolutely loved the cartoon. My mom took me to see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1 and 2 and 3 in theaters, okay? And 2 of those were on Mother's Day. Alright? Think about that. A movie she couldn't stand, she loved me enough to take it because she knew I wanted to see it. Me and my brother both. Alright? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles seemingly got a reboot with TMNT in the CGI edition of it. They went a little crazy with it, and it wasn't as successful as TMNT 2 or TMNT 1. But it had its own successes. The problem is that this supposed reboot actually was a sequel, not a reboot. And a little clip at the end is what allowed you to know it was a sequel because they had the different things from the different movies. So we get a reboot, not directed by Michael Bay, but produced by Michael Bay. And his flair for over explosions and ridiculous situations is written all over this movie. It has red disease and has it bad. Now, nostalgia goggles on, I enjoyed it. There were a lot of throwbacks to the older movies, and even the cartoons. It was more throwback to the cartoons than it was the older movies. Shredder saying, "Tonight I dine on turtle soup," and things like that was awesome. It got me gleeful. Alright, I was giddy. Alright, I enjoyed it very much. Here's the problem I have with it. Taking the nostalgia goggles off, taking the fandom goggles off, I could not stand that they made this about April O'Neil. The movie was not April O'Neil and her pets. It was not Megan Fox made us put her in this movie. Michael Bay made us put Megan Fox in this movie, so we have to use her as much as possible. All right? April O'Neil is the reason that the Turtles exist. Bullshit. And I call bullshit on that because Eastman and Laird were huge fans of Daredevil. And it's actually the same stuff that gave Daredevil his powers in the old school comics that created the Turtles. The kid that dropped the Turtles into the sewer with the mutagen was Daredevil. Eastman and Laird confirmed that a long ass time ago. But no, in this, we have a completely different origin story, which has nothing to do with it. Now, was the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles successful? Apparently, because there's going to be a sequel. Is it going to be as good as the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Probably not. So this is probably going to be the last instance of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies until we get another reboot that's going to suffer from R.E.D. It's going to be a never-ending cycle because these properties do make money when they hit. Alright? If you could make a good Mario Brothers movie, or not even going Mario Brothers, because that atrocity is never going to get made again. Legend of Zelda. Fans of Legend of Zelda have been clamoring and clawing and begging Nintendo to make this movie. Fans have made fan movies that are freaking amazing. High graphics, great costumes, amazing story. Here's the problem. It's never going to get made. But if it did, how many reboots would we have to suffer from? Because the first one screwed up. Now, there are rumors that there is a Super Mario Brothers movie being pitched out there. And Sony actually owned the rights for a while. Let that sit in your craw. PlayStation owned the rights to a Nintendo franchise for a movie. Yeah. Alright, going back, staying on topic with Red Disease. X-Men. X-Men 1, great. X2, amazing. X3, what the fuck did you do? X3 was horrible. Let's focus on the worst part of the Marvel Universe because we want to do the Phoenix Saga that everybody has seen and heard of 100 times. Full disclosure, I hate the Phoenix Saga. It's the same fucking thing every single time. Jean dies. Comes back. Good Phoenix. Power starts getting over controlling of her. Psycho Phoenix. Phoenix starts killing people. Evil Phoenix. And then the X-Men and Scott Summers have to frickin' get help from an otherworldly being to stop the Phoenix, and the Phoenix gets put to sleep for a while. I haven't kept up on the X-Men comics, so forgive me if I don't know what's going on with Phoenix now. I just know that the Phoenix is now the embodiment of Jean's daughter? Something? Anyway, so with X3, we got that atrocity, so they still wanted to make money off of the product, so they gave us the Wolverine. Wolverine Origins. Horrible. The Wolverine. Actually really good. Did a lot to redeem itself. But before we got the Wolverine, we had X-Men First Class, which was a reboot of the entire franchise. Scrap what we did. The only reason we're going to have Logan in it is because we have something to do with the next one that we're setting up. X-Men First Class was a reboot. On top of the fact it was a reboot, it was a horrible, horrible reboot that had some glaring problems in it. 1. Wasp. 2. Darwin. 3. Havoc. 4. Beast. 5. Cerebro. 6. Magneto. 7. The goddamn helmet. Okay? If I want to go through all 7 of those in depth, I'd have to do a whole nother podcast because X-Men First Class was horrible. Alright? So, knowing that X-Men First Class was horrible, we got Fox going, shit, we need to make up for this so we can make money off of this product again. And we got Days of Future Past, which a lot of people are forgiving First Class and X3 because it was a giant reset button on the whole series, which it was. Days of Future Past was amazing. All right, they did what they were supposed to do, and they cured themselves of red disease with the X-Men First Class. Now, Terminator is another one. I know it's not a comic book movie. It wasn't a comic book until after the Terminator movie came out. Here's the problem. The Terminator had its run. Terminator 1, Terminator 2, Terminator 3 was horrible. So they did a reboot, Terminator Salvation. Terminator Salvation was really, really good. Okay? And everybody was waiting for Terminator 5. Technically, it's Terminator 5 because it's the 5th movie in what is the worst timeline in history. It was still technically a reboot, and everybody knows this. Even this new one, Terminator Genisys, which is a reboot again, is still hearkening back to the original Terminator. That's for fans. And that part is going to take place, it be important here in a second. Terminator Genisys looks like it's going to be everything the original Terminator was, and everything Terminator 2 was. Terminator 3 kind of went a little nuts, and then Terminator Salvation did a lot to fix things, but wasn't what we wanted. So I'm eagerly looking forward to Genisys. So there are two new properties that I want to talk about. They're not new properties, but they're properties that are being optioned into movies. One of them is Indiana Jones, and if you're a hermit crab or haven't touched Twitter or Facebook in the last 3 days, this is going to be news to you. Chris Pratt is being looked at to helm the new rebooted Indiana Jones. Now, I personally have no problem with Chris Pratt playing Indy. No problem whatsoever. You can't get Harrison Ford to do it anymore. He was in Expendables 3, and I felt bad for the guy. He stood there hunched over being Harrison Ford and, didn't really do much. And then the other 20 minutes he was on screen, he was on green screen in a fake helicopter. All right? I don't know how he's going to look in Episode 7, but we'll see. So, Disney is rebooting Indiana Jones. I don't think they should reboot it, because what they were going to do originally, as everybody knows, is with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, they were going to pass the fedora onto Mutt and Shia LaBeouf. With the travesty that was that movie, I keep using that because it's very fitting to what these movies are, to what the franchise was. The travesty of Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls stopped everything. Alright, they gave the helm to George Lucas, and Lucas did his normal, I'm crazy and gonna just make millions of dollars off of this, and give the fans shit, and we got Crystal Skull. Indiana Jones 5. Don't reboot it. Chris Pratt is Mutt grown up. Okay? He's had the good family life. He's had everything that he didn't have that made him the rebel. Alright? Harrison Ford is still there as Indy. He passes his hat on, or even dies. Okay? While they're out exploring something. He doesn't have what it takes, but Indy, being who he is, wants to keep doing it. Chris Pratt's version of Indy is as his son. We're not going to call him Mutt. We're going to call him by his real name. Can't save his dad, but now feels he needs to take up the mantle and be like his dad and continue doing what his dad wanted to do, like Indy did with his dad in The Last Crusade. Alright? It would be perfect. It would work. You could even bring back, what's her name, played Marion, right? It would work. And fans would be okay with it. The second one that has been optioned, that if you haven't been watching IGN or even on Facebook or Twitter or anything like that, you've been living under a rock, is Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is going to have an all-female cast. I have no problem with this whatsoever. Okay? The only thing I care about is them keeping Ghostbusters the way it's supposed to be. Funny, with action, and ghosts, and stupid storylines. Okay? Don't reboot this as the new feminist regime of Ghostbusters where it's all got to be about women power and stuff like that. I don't care that it's all women. I don't care. You could have every character in the entire movie be women. Even background characters. There could not be a man in sight. All the ghosts can be female. I don't care. Keep it funny. Keep it lighthearted. Keep it... have action in it. And ghosts. That's all you need to do. Don't screw it up. And I'm worried that they're going to screw it up because everybody's making a big deal about it being 4 girls. I don't care. I've seen the 4 women. I know some of their work. They're hilarious. I can already see the parts that they're going to play, and I know who's going to play which part. Okay? Of course, the token black girl is there. She's going to play whatever. Winifred Zedmore. I don't know what their names are going to be. Just keep it funny. That's all you gotta do. I'm not saying you have to make a remake of the first movie. But all you have to do is harken back to the first 2 movies. Acknowledge that they exist. Acknowledge that you are taking a property from fans and doing something else with it. Don't be like the director of the Fantastic Four piece of shit that's going to come out and be like, look, Marvel, I understand you set up a whole history with this family, but I'm going to do my own thing. Alright? Don't pull a Kanye. Alright? So, this is going to be the last one I'm talking about with R.E.D disease, and it's going to suffer from R.E.D disease, and I am asking anybody who listens to this to boycott this stupid movie because it's not Fantastic Four. Okay? So, I already brought up issues that I have with this movie, and I'm going to bring them up again. This is a reboot. This reboot suffers from R.E.D disease horribly. Here are some issues. And one of these issues is being plastered all over media that it's the big issue, and it's not. Johnny Storm and Susan Storm are brother and sister. Susan is white, Johnny is black. Very easily understandable, they're adopted siblings. Or half-siblings. Whatever. I have no problem with Johnny Storm being black. I really don't. You need to explain it first, and that better be something you explain pretty damn well. Don't just make it a passing line in the movie. Oh, yeah, he's adopted. Explain it. Because if you don't, fans who do go see this movie are going to be pissed. And it's not a race issue whatsoever. It's the fact that I'll get to it. Second, Dr. Victor Von Doom. That name carries power. Carries power in all of the Marvel verses. And there are many. This Dr. Doom is not Victor Von Doom. He's not from Latveria, and he's not a scientific genius. Do you realize Doc Doom is one of the top 25 minds in the Marvel Universe? This Dr. Doom is a blogger, and his handle is Doom. How do you make that into a villain? He scandalizes them to death? He uses the blogosphere to hurt their feelings? This isn't fucking Tumblr! And this brings me to what I can only say is the worst decision that Fox has ever made with one of their properties. In an interview with the woman they're getting to play Susan Storm very early on, they asked, "How did you prepare for this role?" She said, "I didn't have to." The interviewer asked, "What do you mean?" She said, "Well, the director told me it has nothing to do with the comics, so I don't have to worry about reading them." Has nothing to do with the comics. Nothing to do with the comics. So why are you calling it Fantastic Four? Why are you using their abilities? Why are you making it a big deal that they become something else? Because it's a fucking comic book movie. You are taking the biggest shit on a comic book franchise that has a very storied and long history. The director is basically telling the fans, yo, I know you liked the first Fantastic Four. We're going to make up for the second one. But I don't want you to think of anything that has to do with them. I know they were called the first family of Marvel. I know they were called heroes. We're not doing any of that. You can just throw that shit right out the door. Because I'm doing what I want to do. This is my movie and there's nothing that Marvel can say about it. I'm boycotting this movie. I'm not going to Redbox it. I'm not going to go to the cheap theaters. I'm not going to pay full price. I'm not going to see it in 3D. I'm not going to see it in IMAX. I'm not even going to watch it on Netflix when it first comes out. Why? Because I've got better shit to do than watch this movie. It's horrible. I can guarantee you right now, it's horrible. I will watch it on Netflix if I have nothing better to do. And if I watch it on Netflix and I enjoy it, I will come on here and I will eat crow. I will tell you how good it is. I will tell you I apologize. It was one of the best movies I've ever seen. Now, a lot of people are talking about the graphics and how stunning it is and how serious it looks. No one knows what the story is yet. It's the same thing with the teaser trailer of Jurassic Park. The teaser trailer for Jurassic Park, we had no idea what the fuck was going on. And I do mean Jurassic Park, not Jurassic World. Jurassic Park, we had a symbol, a dinosaur roar, and a footprint with water shaking in it. That was it. We have no idea what this movie is going to be like. So, why? Why do these reboots suffer from R.E.D? Why do they feel they have to change everything? Alright, Batman has the same origin from Batman to Batman Begins. His parents die, he becomes Batman. Training is a little different. In the original Batman, and I'm talking from the 60s, I'm talking about Tim Burton, you didn't see him train. You just found out he was pretty badass. Batman Begins, you find out he was trained by Ra's al Ghul in the League of Shadows. Superman, same origin from Superman to Man of Steel. Slight difference, his dad plays a bigger part in Man of Steel. I'm talking about Russell Crowe. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, completely different origin story. X-Men First Class, completely different origin story. Spider-Man, completely different origin story. Not only did his parents not, or did his parents have something to do with him, but they genetically altered him. Fantastic Four, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, completely different origin story, if I didn't say that already. Fantastic Four has a different origin. It's not cosmic rays, it's a scientific experiment. Okay, that's cool. I enjoyed Amazing Spider-Man very much. I liked the way they did the story. You can change the origin story. Just don't do it like the Turtles did. That's fine. Cosmic rays, genetic experiment, whatever. But you are taking away everything that made the Fantastic Four the Fantastic Four. It's not just 4 people with superpowers. Okay? There's a fan base, and if you don't make a movie for a fan base, why make it? And for those of you who are like, well, not every movie is made for fans. Bullshit. Alright? There are fans of genres. The movies are made for the fans of the genres. The movies are made to make money. This movie is being hailed as a comic book movie, which means it's for comic book fans. On top of that, it's the Fantastic Four, which means it's for Fantastic Four fans. And you are shitting in the face of every single Fantastic Four fan by pulling this shit. Like I said before, I'm not seeing this movie. I will watch it if I have nothing better to do. And I suggest you guys do the same. We need to teach Fox and Sony and any other company out there that has franchises bought. Don't fuck with it. So, that is the end of my rant and red disease. There is a cure out there, folks. And unfortunately, it's us. We need to speak with our wallets. So, help me, help you be the cure to this horrible, horrible disease. And that is it for this episode of Help for the Guildless. Thank you for listening to me rant. I've gotten a lot off my chest. My name is Cole Spire. If you liked this video, please share it, subscribe, hit like, follow me on Facebook. I want to thank you guys for listening, and have a good night, everybody.